Hey everyone, and welcome back to Tech Talk Central. I'm Nathan, and with me today is Sarah, and we're tackling a question that's probably on a lot of minds out there.
Which 5K monitor is the best? The Samsung ViewFinity S9 or the ASUS ProArt Display?
Tough choices, right? But that's what we're here for. We're diving deep into those Amazon product pages.
To help you figure out which one of these monitors might be your perfect match.
Yeah, you're probably looking for a monitor that, just delivers stunning visuals and a workflow that is just seamless, right? That's what everyone wants.
Exactly.
So let's break down the key features and specs and just get right into it, starting with the most obvious thing, resolution.
Right off the bat, both of these monitors have that incredible 5K resolution. We're talking 520 by 2880 pixels.
Yeah, that's a lot of pixels.
That's a whole lot of pixels.
I mean, that's way more than 4K.
Oh yeah, it's a game changer, especially for visual-focused folks out there.
Definitely.
The ASUS product page actually points out that this resolution gives you a 77% larger workspace compared to a standard 4K monitor.
Wow. 77%.
77%.
So that's like if you're working on a massive spreadsheet.
Exactly.
I mean, you'd be scrolling forever on a smaller screen, but with these 5K monitors,
You can see the whole thing at once.
yeah, you don't have to zoom out.
Yeah, it's awesome. Definitely a boost in productivity.
Definitely. Okay, so resolution is clearly a win for both.
Absolutely.
But let's talk about something that is crucial for like creative professionals especially. Color accuracy.
Yes.
Why does this even matter?
Right.
Well, imagine spending hours perfecting the colors on a photo only to print it out and have it look totally different.
It's the worst.
The worst. Color accuracy is there to make sure that what you see on screen is what you get in real life.
Exactly. It ensures that those colors are consistent across different devices.
So important. And both of these monitors excel here,
They do.
boasting, impressive color gamut coverage.
Yeah.
DCI-P3, sRGB, Adobe RGB. You'll be able to, just confidently create and edit knowing your work will look consistent. And to add to that, both are factory calibrated for accuracy.
Yeah, that's a big plus.
Right out of the box,
Yeah.
You're good to go. But the ASUS ProArt Display goes a step further.
It does.
It proudly states that it meets the Kalman verified standard with a delta E of less than 2,
Less than 2.
which I know that might sound like some technical jargon.
It sounds very technical.
Yeah, what does it mean for like the average person?
Basically, it means that the colors on this monitor are incredibly precise. Almost no deviation from those intended shades. This is essential for things like, photo editing, graphic design, where color precision is non-negotiable.
So if you're listening to this and you're someone who needs that absolute color accuracy, the ASUS ProArt Display might just have the edge there.
It might.
But of course, the Samsung ViewFinity S9 also promises those vibrant, true-to-life colors.
It does.
Even if they don't mention, that specific standard, it might be worth digging deeper into those user reviews
Yeah, absolutely.
to see what people are saying about the real-world performance.
After-
All right, we've talked visuals, but what about practicality?
Right.
Let's move on to connectivity and power delivery, and this is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
The ASUS ProArt Display. They make a big deal about their USB-C port with 96-watt power delivery.
Which means
You can charge your laptop while you're working using just one cable.
just one cable keeps your workspace nice and clean.
Exactly. It's a simple thing, but it makes a big difference
Absolutely.
in keeping your workspace, clutter-free.
Yes.
Now, the Samsung ViewFinity S9 takes a bit of a different approach.
Okay.
It features Thunderbolt 4, which offers up to 90W charging.
Okay.
So both have got you covered on that power delivery front,
Oh, sure.
just slightly different methods.
Yeah. And don't forget about all those other ports.
Yeah.
The ASUS ProArt Display includes DisplayPort, HDMI. It even has a USB hub.
That's handy.
Super handy. The Samsung ViewFinity S9, on the other hand, has DisplayPort and an extra HDMI port.
Oh, nice.
So plenty of options to connect all your devices.
Plenty of options. Speaking of options, let's dive into some of those special features that really set these monitors apart.
Okay, let's do it.
The ASUS ProArt Display has this unique trick up its sleeve called Auto KVM.
Auto KVM. Now, this is a game changer for anyone working with multiple PCs.
Multiple PCs.
Yeah, like if you have a work computer and a personal computer,
Uh-huh.
Both hooked up to the monitor with auto KVM, you can seamlessly control both of them using just one keyboard and mouse.
Wow.
No more switching cables or struggling with multiple setups. It's just streamlined.
That's amazing.
Super efficient.
I need that.
You need that.
I have way too many cables under my dog right now. That sounds like a dream.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
And to make things even better, the ASUS ProArt Display also features something called Lux Pixel technology.
Lux Pixel technology. Now think about how annoying glare can be.
Oh, especially on a sunny day.
The worst. Lux Pixel is like having built-in sunglasses for your monitor.
Oh.
It's an anti-glare coating that creates this paper-like effect. Reduces eye strain, makes those long work sessions much more comfortable.
So it's like you're reading a book, basically.
Basically.
Yeah, sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, and on the Samsung side, they're really highlighting their 4K slim fit camera and their slim metal design.
So it seems Samsung is emphasizing a sleek, modern aesthetic.
Yeah.
Integrated video conferencing capabilities.
Smart move, considering how much we rely on video calls these days.
All the time.
All the time. So both monitors pack a punch in terms of features and specs.
Absolutely.
But what are real-world users saying?
Rhett, let's get into those Amazon reviews and see what insights we can uncover.
Yes, let's start with the ASUS ProArt Display. A lot of users praise its color accuracy, the vibrant colors, that impressive anti-glare coating we talked about.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and one user even raved about how easy it was to assemble. No tools required, apparently.
Always a plus.
Always a plus, right?
Yeah.
But of course, like any product, there are going to be some differing opinions.
Right, of course.
A few users did mention that the placement of the USB ports could have been a bit more convenient.
Sometimes those design choices are a trade-off between aesthetics and practicality.
It's all about finding that balance.
Yeah.
And while most users seem happy with the build quality of the ASUS ProArt Display, I did find one review that mentioned the stand felt a little plasticky for their liking. But, perceptions of build quality can be pretty subjective.
Absolutely. What about the Samsung ViewFinity S9? What are people saying about its performance?
Well, users are raving about its beautiful display, sleek design. Several people praise the included remote control.
Oh, the remote control.
Yeah, they said it makes navigating the monitor settings and the smart features super easy.
That's a nice touch.
Yeah, not all monitors come with a remote, so it's nice that they included that.
Yeah, it really adds to that user-friendly experience.
For sure. Okay, so we've highlighted some positives.
Yeah.
But of course, no product is perfect, right?
Yeah.
So what are some of the areas where users have differing opinions?
Well, for the ASUS ProArt Display, a few users did point out that the placement of the USB ports could be a bit more convenient. Like we said before, sometimes those design choices, it's a bit of a trade-off between aesthetics and practicality.
You're right. It's always a balancing act for those manufacturers.
Yeah.
And while most users seem satisfied with the ASUS ProArt Display's build quality, I did come across one review that mentioned that the stand felt a bit plasticky to them.
Interesting.
It's interesting how those perceptions of build quality can vary so much from person to person.
Yeah, totally.
What about the Samsung ViewFinity S9? Any recurring complaints?
A couple of users did mention that the smart features, while promising, weren't quite as smooth or responsive as they had hoped.
So maybe they're still working out some kinks in that smart monitor experience.
It seems that way. Display.
We've talked visuals, we've talked features, we even peeked at some user reviews.
But when you're spending hours in front of a screen, ergonomics are just as important as picture quality.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A monitor could have all the bells and whistles in the world, but if it's not comfortable to use, you're going to run into some problems.
Right, you'd have eye strain, backaches.
All sorts of things.
No one wants that.
Thankfully, both of these monitors have adjustable stands, so
Yeah.
you can really find that sweet spot for optimal comfort.
The ASUS ProArt Display, for example, you can adjust the height, tilt, swivel. You can even pivot the screen to a vertical orientation.
Oh, that's great for anyone working with long documents or code.
Right, it's like having a giant digital notepad.
Exactly. And speaking of customization, the Samsung ViewFinity S9 offers a pretty good range of adjustments, too.
It does.
Although the product description doesn't specifically say if it includes that pivot function.
That's a good point.
So for those listeners who need that vertical setup, definitely something to double check.
Yeah, make sure you do your research.
We can talk about, amazing visuals, convenient features all day long.
Yeah.
But price is always a factor.
Always a factor. And there is a bit of a difference between these two monitors when it comes to price.
Yeah, what are we looking at?
So the ASUS ProArt Display is currently listed at $799 on Amazon.
Okay. And the Samsung ViewFinity S9.
That one comes in a little bit higher at $848,
So not a huge difference, but definitely something to think about.
especially if you're on a tight budget.
Right.
It's also worth noting that you might be able to find them for slightly lower prices from other sellers on Amazon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it never hurts to shop around a little bit and see if you can snag a better deal.
Good advice. Now let's shift gears a bit and look more at the user experience.
Okay.
We've touched on some of the positive feedback, but I'm curious about those little details that people really notice.
I love that you're focusing on the details because sometimes it's those seemingly small things that can make a big difference in your overall satisfaction with the product.
Exactly. Like, for instance, several users of the ASUS ProArt Display mentioned how much they appreciated the thin bezels.
The bezels.
Yeah, on three sides of the monitor.
Oh, yeah, the bezels. It might seem like a small detail, but those thin bezels can really create a more immersive viewing experience.
Especially if you're using multiple monitors side by side.
Right. It's like having one giant continuous screen.
Exactly. And speaking of seamless transitions, I saw a review where someone was raving about how easy it was to put the ASUS ProArt Display together.
Really?
No tools required.
That's always a plus.
Uh,
Especially for those of us who aren't exactly DIY experts.
Exactly. Now, on the Samsung side, one detail that caught my eye was a user who really loved the included remote control.
Oh, yeah, the remote control. We talked about that.
He said it makes navigating those monitor settings and the smart features so easy.
That's a nice touch. Not all monitors come with a remote, so that's definitely something that adds to the user friendliness.
Okay, so we've highlighted some of the good stuff,
Right.
but of course, no product is perfect. What about some areas where maybe users had some different opinions?
Well, for the ASUS ProArt Display, some users pointed out that the placement of the USB ports could be a bit more convenient.
Yeah, I saw a few comments about that too.
Sometimes those design choices are a bit of a trade-off between aesthetics and practicality.
Right. It's all about finding that balance.
Exactly.
And while most people seem to be happy with the build quality of the ASUS ProArt Display, I did see one review that said the stand felt a little plasticky.
Interesting. Perceptions of build quality can be so different from person to person.
Yeah. What about the Samsung ViewFinity S9? Any complaints that came up a few times?
A couple of users mentioned that the smart features, while they seem promising, weren't quite as smooth or as responsive as they'd hoped.
So maybe Samsung is still working on perfecting that whole smart monitor experience.
It could be.
But hey, software updates, they can change things.
They really can.
So it's not a deal breaker. So to sum up this part of our deep dive, it seems like both the Samsung ViewFinity S9 and the ASUS ProArt Display have their pluses and minuses.
They do, just like any product.
They both deliver those stunning visuals, solid performance.
Yeah.
But there are those little differences in terms of, features, design choices, overall user experience.
Right. It really depends on what you need and what's important to you.
Exactly. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive.
I hope this helped.
Yeah, we hope we've given you a better idea what these monitors can do and helped you get a little closer to making the right decision.
Before we go, just a final thought. Both of these monitors have exceptional visual quality.
But as more and more of us work remotely and rely on video calls,
Are built-in webcams and microphones becoming just as important as color accuracy for a professional monitor?
that's a great question to think about. To find the latest prices and deals on both of these monitors, be sure to check out the links down in the description.
And if you found this deep dive helpful,
Don't forget to subscribe to Tech Talk Central for more tech comparisons and insights. Thanks for joining us.